So could you introduce yourself to the class and tell us your position that you hold here?
Sure. My name is Raelle Anderson, and I am the Executive Director at North Idaho College Foundation, and normally have a much stronger voice than I do today, but I have bronchitis, so thanks for your patience. I am an alum of North Idaho College, first-generation college student.
Oh, wow.
From a small community. Came to North Idaho College about 25 years ago as an undergraduate student and fell in love with education. And so through that, started working in different offices as a work study and went on to pursue my degree in business at Montana State after I left North Idaho College. And luckily 20 years ago, was hired back at North Idaho College Foundation to work with the nonprofit arm of the college that raises money for student scholarships and other needs.
Oh, okay. What's the mission of the nonprofit?
North Idaho College Foundation was established. Most higher ed colleges and universities have a foundation or a booster club, and or both, in which case we do. And the mission or the goal is to raise money to help students with scholarship support, to raise additional money for program needs in the classroom, in the laboratories, for that extra margin of excellence that the limited college budget just simply cannot fully fund.
Oh, okay. You told me a little bit about your work experience and your background. How did you become executive director of the foundation?
Good question. I was hired originally as the business manager for the nonprofit. Our nonprofit had grown to $1 million in assets, but it hadn't had anyone as a business manager to really get in and make sure that the finances were in perfect order, that the accounting systems were in place, that the management and marketing, all of the systems were of a size to basically foster growth. And so we've gone in 20 years. I was hired originally to come in and get the systems in place, and our systems now support a $20 million organization.
Wow.
And we generate over $1 million a year, about $800,000 a year in scholarships.
Wow.
So that's off of money we manage. And so I got hired on as a business manager, and then I mentored under a fabulous executive director who was a vice president here at the college. He was in charge of governmental relations, community relations, and marketing, as well as development, which includes foundation, grants, alumni relations. And in mentoring under him, you know, I had a business degree. I never thought I would be in fundraising. Asking people for money just seems so awkward.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with the fact that you could identify a need and an unmet need, and there are donors out there that want to give back and help make a difference, and it's really matchmaking. And so it was mentoring under Steve Shank that really turned on my passion for nonprofit work. So if I wasn't working here at North Idaho College Foundation, I would be working somewhere in the nonprofit world, matching donors to needs.
Oh, that's great. We learn a lot about mission statements and how everybody in the company needs to be behind the mission so that
Right.
You basically further the mission of the foundation. How do you get everybody behind your mission? How do you get everybody involved?
Good question. North Idaho College, as an educational institution, is about helping students enhance their success through educational training and pursuit of their dreams. So that is the big mission of the college. The fundamental mission of the foundation is really to focus on those people who wouldn't normally be able to maybe think about their dreams or realize their dreams, maybe without a bit of help. And these might be people who don't even know there's help out there. And so how we, as a staff, we have a team of about 7.5 of us, we see the difference it makes when we're able to raise money to help a student or a faculty or a staff member do something amazing that changes students' lives. So when you see that firsthand, we all can tell you that story that made it kind of a trigger point for each of us. So we are able to live the mission because we're able to experience it through the students and through those we help.
Because you see them every day.
Because we see the results.
That's great.
Yeah.
With the economy the way it is, and not everybody doesn't have the funding to go to school, are you noticing more and more need for your funding for the scholarship program and things like that?
Yes. In education, when the economy goes south, people go back to school. Many times they can get a Pell Grant, and loans are pretty easy to come by, which is also creating a big challenge for young people and not so young people who are getting out of college, that college debt. So the demand for our services, when the enrollments were really skyrocketing the last 5 years, our college grew just at 50% in the last 5 years in enrollment. The numbers of scholarship apps have been high all along. The numbers of loan dollars have grown significantly for those of you that are taking out loans. And now you're going to have to try to repay that in a time where you may not be able to get that great job. So we have tried through the foundation to direct the dollars to students who, one, may not be getting that full Pell Grant. They might be the student who can get a loan, but maybe if they could get some scholarship support, it would reduce the total loan burden and help as many students as possible. And so we've seen the demand stay high, but we're really trying to target the dollars to the students who might not otherwise be able to succeed in their goals and achieve completion, whether that's retraining or an associate or a transfer degree, or whatever their degree or their goal is here at North Idaho College.
Where does a lot of your funding come from? Can you tell me about your
Good
fundraising
question.
program?
Yeah, North Idaho College Foundation focuses on private donations from individuals, businesses who are mostly owned by individuals. We do have family foundations or private foundations that we apply to dollars for, and corporate donors as well. The majority of the donations that we get are from individuals or those who own individual businesses. Kind of a rule of thumb, 80 to 90% of the dollars we raise come from individuals or businesses owned by those individuals.
Do you put on special events for fundraising?
We do special events more for awareness. The biggest dollars that we're able to raise, the most effective dollars, are when we sit down one-on-one with the supporter that might be interested in a program that we want to offer, or a scholarship that they maybe were a recipient of a scholarship 50 years ago or 20 years ago and they want to give back. So the one-on-one conversation is the easiest, most effective way to raise dollars. The second most the most effective way is to plant the seed with those people about thinking of the college or the foundation in their estate plan. When we pass away and in our will, think about the charities we love the most and maybe leave a percentage in the will. And that by far is when we see the largest impactful gifts that you'll get, because you'll get $1 million or $300,000 all in one fell swoop for a special need. So the individual one-on-one, the estate gifts, and then the events. The events that we do include a house raffle. I don't know if you're familiar, but for 20 years we've been raffling off a home as the grand prize of a really big raffle. Well, at the core of that house is the learning lab for our carpentry program. So really it's about the program. It's about helping that program have a meaningful experience. Mm-hmm. And our foundation, through that event, has been able to build awareness about the program, provide the students with a learning opportunity, and we raise enough money to perpetuate buying that lot and building that house each year so the students have a meaningful project. We then market it and tell the community and the region about North Idaho College Foundation, and that the money goes to helping students pursue their dreams. So those are the types of events we try to focus on.
Do you use any outside companies for your marketing, or do you do that here internally?
Good question. We believe we understand our alumni and our donors probably better than anyone. And we have retirees as well that we listen to. When we go and we put out a publication, we're very mindful of whether or not it looks too nice, because it's very expensive to do that, but yet you need to communicate and what's the best mechanism. So we have been able to do that internally. We have people on staff, myself included, that have a marketing background, business and marketing. Mm-hmm. but we rely on our communications and marketing department of the college to help us. How do we package it? This is we know our market, but what's the best way to communicate and get that information to our demographics? But more importantly, we ask our people that we communicate with, what'd you think? And we listen. Oh, because a 45-year-old may not think, an email might work great for me, but the 85-year-old might want something in their hands. And so we do kind of a combination of all, but we work with the college's marketing and communications department that does a great job, and then ourselves. And then we also have volunteers on our boards and committees that bring that expertise to give us, kind of keep us sharp on
How
what
many
we're doing.
volunteers do you think you have?
North Idaho College Foundation has a board of up to 30, and then our Alumni Association has a board of about a dozen, up to 15, so there's 45. And then we always, I will many times pick up the phone and call someone in the community that I know has an expertise in a certain area and say, will you take a look at what we're doing? How could we do better? And many people volunteer their time and expertise just to give us good advice.
So you answer to the board of the Alumni Association and of the foundation?
Good question.
Those two boards?
Actually, my immediate supervisor is the college president.
Okay.
And he and the North Idaho College Foundation together are my boss.
Okay.
The foundation board and the college president, in 1977 our foundation was formed, and so we're a joint venture between foundation and college. And then later came our alumni association. So for universities, alumni associations come sooner in their history. At North Idaho College, because we're a community college, our alumni association was resurrected in 1996. So we have an alumni association that is basically a sub-entity of the foundation and the college. So they're part of our mix, and I have a staff person in our team that supports the alumni association, and I'm a member of that board. But my direct supervisors are the college president and the foundation board of directors.
How do you elect the board of the foundation?
Good question. North Idaho College Foundation is a private nonprofit, and the board members are governed by bylaws and articles of incorporation. And in those bylaws, it basically talks about the appointment process. It is a private board, and so they're not elected, they're appointed. And they are chosen. The board basically has a matrix of skill sets that they look for, and whether it's marketing, accounting, estate planning expertise, business, marketing, or I may have said that, communications, engineering, you name it. So there's an array of skill sets that the nonprofit feels that is important to the most productive board. And so the people on that board fit in one of those categories. And when a board member either retires off the board or we're trying to recruit new board members, the board looks at that matrix and they try to figure out who in the community or the region has the skill set to complement and enhance the board's effectiveness.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
kind of complex. Excuse me.
Yeah. What's your daily life like here? What does your job entail on a day-to-day basis?
That's a good question. It is not boring.
It's not boring.
No. I would say that nonprofit work is very fulfilling because it's very diverse. So first and foremost, it's about the donors and the people that you try to connect with to share the story about the need. The need is endless. We could never have too many scholarships for students. We always need equipment and technology and facilities at the college. So every day comes with that excitement of connecting the need with the donor. The day-to-day of operations get in the way. You need to steward the money that you raise to the best of your and your board's ability, because you are making a promise to a donor that you will manage their money the way that you promised them that you will, and you're held accountable by the IRS and by your own standards to do that. So a fair amount of every day is spent with anything from receivables to payables on the accounting side. How are your investments doing? The dollars that you manage, how are your investments doing? Which committee of the board is working on the most important project at the time? Are they getting the proper support to be successful? How's that special project with the president going up in that other community that you've been working on expanding your services? And then, did you call the 90-year-old lady that is such a good friend, and her birthday's coming up, and her son just passed away, and did you reach out to her yet this quarter to say, how you doing? And so that is kind of your day. And every day it evolves. It's very project and deadline driven. There's never enough time in the day to get everything done. But when you call it a day, was it enough to make a difference, to get you one step further to helping more and more students?
It sounds like your mission is just a part of everything you do every day.
Yes.
That's really comforting for everybody that's invested in the college, and
Yep.
we just know that there's a future for other people out there that are trying to go to school too. What kind of advice would you give to students, like in my class, who might pursue a career in the nonprofit sector?
That's a great question. I unknowingly prepared myself for nonprofit work. I got a degree in business because it came easier to me. And I wanted to go on the communications route. I didn't know why exactly. I love people. So what I stumbled into is, with a degree in business, I got some accounting, I got some finance. I loved marketing, management of people, and management of resources. So any path that you decide to take, the dabbling in all of those areas is important, because with a nonprofit, especially a small one, you're going to need to understand all of them. If you manage one, seeing the bigger picture is critically important. Beyond having that degree, if you will, it means nothing if you can't apply it. So what I stumbled into, as a manager coming in, I was hired as an assistant director here at North Idaho College Foundation, that business manager. I took every opportunity to learn my field of education and nonprofit fundraising for it. So I got involved with Council for Resource Development, which is the premier nonprofit for community college fundraising. I went to every regional conference. I read every book I could find. I mentored. I would ask nonprofit people in the community, can I shadow you? Can I see what you do? I have then pursued what's called a Certified Fundraising Executive status, which is I liken it to like a CPA. When you go to get your CPA license, it's a certification that you have an understanding, a minimum understanding, and it takes you have to be in nonprofit work at least 5 years and have so many different accomplishments so that you can apply for that CFRE standard. But that is something, if you want to be a nonprofit leader, I highly recommend that credential.
Okay, that's good advice. So I'm just about out of time, but what's your favorite thing about your job?
Helping people.
Helping people.
Helping the people who want to give back, to help people pursue their dreams in education. I'm an example of that. I received a scholarship from someone I'd never met. I came to North Idaho College. Education transformed my life. Now I get it. When someone is 65 and is retiring and saying, I now want to give back to help someone like me. And so that's my favorite part of the job.